Alright guys, let's move on to Redis. What is Redis? Redis actually stands for Remote Dictionary Server. So that's its abbreviated name. Basically, what it does is in-memory caching. Guys, it's actually an in-memory data storage. It's a structure designed with a database logic in mind. Guys, it's a system that works with high performance and low latency. Even though our main purpose might seem like it's to back up a database, that's not exactly the case, guys. There are many areas where it can be used. There are structures where we can do caching, and I'll show you this. For example, let's say we have a method and it takes a long time to run. But it performs certain calculations and gives results based on the input provided. Now, if the outputs don't change when the inputs are the same, in other words, imagine a method that always produces the same result for the same inputs. In such a case, it wouldn't make sense to run the method and wait for it to do the calculation every single time. So what do you do with this information instead? You cache it. Now, think of it this way. You have accounting data at hand, and you are the accountant. You have all your clients' transactions for this year, their payments, invoices, everything. And you're told, calculate this month's figures for client A and tell us the result. You sit down, do the calculations, and come up with a result. You say, these are this client's payments for the month. These are the invoices that have been issued. And you found that there is either an invoice deficit or surplus of this amount. How long did it take? Let's say it took 2 hours. Now, a week goes by and you're asked again to calculate this client's payments for the month. But you already did the calculations 2 weeks ago. Isn't that right? Yes. Now, would you sit down and redo from scratch the calculation you did 2 weeks ago that took you several hours, or would you just pull it out from where you already saved it and hand it over? Which one makes sense? You've already done it. You've already calculated it. I mean, what's being asked is the same thing. There's nothing that's changed, right? You must have written it down somewhere. You just take it and hand it over. Caching in Redis works with the same logic. Guys, if the inputs don't change and the outputs don't change either, there's no point in running that method again. You make a note that for this input, this will be the output. So, you tell Redis, when these parameters are given to this method, this is the output. You save this. When someone sends the same request, you fetch it from Redis and return the response. That's basically the logic. Apart from this, you can also do session management. In other words, you can handle session management, and actually, session management can be managed very efficiently in Redis. You can implement queue logic, queue control. You can perform real-time analytics. For example, what's happening in the system right now, how many people have logged in, who's doing what, things like that. You can also store your temporary data on Redis. For instance, let's say people are trying something out at that moment. You can keep track of how many times they've tried that request. When they reach a certain limit, you can reject or reset them. These kinds of things can also be handled through Redis. It has a very wide range of capabilities. It can support many data structures. It can actually store strings, hashes, lists, sets, sorted sets, bitmaps, hyperlogs, in short, all of them. Even though Redis operates on RAM, it can actually write the data from RAM to disks at certain intervals. Guys. But of course, how efficient is this writing process? Or how feasible is it to recover from here if something goes wrong? Well, that's a bit debatable, but in the end, it can do this as well, guys. It also has a cluster structure, guys, just like in other in-memory cache systems. So, what is it? Just like in Apache Kafka or Elasticsearch, it has replicas, clusters, and things like that built in. Guys, the main advantages of Redis, well, the part that appeals to us the most is its speed. It supports different flexible scenarios, can be easily integrated and run, and since it's open source, you don't have documentation issues. There are communities, and you can get support from them. These aspects are nice, but when it comes to disadvantages, as the name suggests, it's a cache, so you need RAM. Guys, the bigger your system gets, the more RAM you consume. It has a problem with persistence. So, you might experience data loss. 1. Because Redis keeps data in RAM. Let's say you're running it in a pod. When the pod reaches the end of its life cycle or resets itself, all the data in RAM is lost. So what happens then? What do you do then? Basically, you need to create a lot of replicas there. You need to set up clusters. You have to put a load balancer in front of it. When the pod resets, to recover the data, you need to recall the data you created as an image from RAM. So, a lot of issues that need to be solved can come up, and so on. Basically, every advantage comes with its own problems. You can't really escape from that. But if you manage it properly, it will make things easier for you in many areas.